What's going on, Jerome's Minnesota Fun Vikings drafted J.J. McCarthy, number 10 overall, highest drafted quarterback in team history, to be the guy going forward. Now, of course, last year, would he have won the job over Sam Darnold eventually? I guess we will never know. But it did seem like they wanted the redshirt season for McCarthy just to really get him integrated into the offense, really get him used to being a professional and all that stuff. And the Vikings haphazardly sort of got their way with the meniscus repair and all that stuff, even though McCarthy returned to the building, which is fantastic. But whoa. And of course, Sam Darnold last year, God King quarterback, Quibus, or God, I should have figured out what it was. Doesn't matter anymore. But throughout most of last year, Darnold was that dude. Dearest Prudence, we are here as the O'Connell Irish Brigade has taken the hill, or something like that. But then they got squashed in the last two games. Whatever, man. But yeah, education is an ongoing process. Even though McCarthy wasn't on the field for practice reps or game situations, he still got that work in. And Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who is not, I repeat, is not Carl Gerbschmidt, did a great long-form piece talking about how the Vikings made sure that McCarthy's rookie season wasn't squandered, wasn't lost. Inside Vikings plan for J.J. McCarthy's lost rookie season, and this is really good. For 1 hour per week last fall, Minnesota Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell cleared his calendar. He put aside game planning, practice prep, and film studying. He ensured he had time. He had no team meetings scheduled, no news conferences, and no phone calls that needed to be returned. Instead, O'Connell turned his focus to the franchise's most important long-term asset, quarterback J.J. McCarthy. The pair spent that hour meeting one-on-one in O'Connell's office, the centerpiece of an extensive program the Vikings arranged while attending to the immediate needs of a 14th regular season to ensure that McCarthy's rookie year was not a total loss. And that's really important because, think about it, last year, Vikings having a really amazing run with slinging Sam Darnold, a.k.a. America's quarterback, and O'Connell, taking where NFL head coaches, an hour may as well be a year, or it may as well be an hour on that one planet from Interstellar, where every minute is like 7 years. But he carved out an hour every single week, be like, hey, JJ, we're going to talk about things and things, because they knew. Like, they know that J.J. McCarthy was the future, and it could have been very easy, J.J. recovering from the meniscus, out of sight, out of mind, be like, go talk to Udinsky. Go talk to McCown. But no, like, O'Connell made JJ a priority. That's important, man. Like, hey, find someone who treats you like a priority, like Kevin O'Connell treated JJ McCarthy. The more you know. This is actually a dating show. I just wanted to give him a platform with me, O'Connell told ESPN. Maybe it was football one day, maybe it was no football. My time is very hard to find during the season, but I just wanted to make sure that we got together. Where it's just like, remember when Zimmer and Kirk Cousins, after year 5 or year 4, was just like, hey, we're watching film together. What were you doing the other 4 years? The one thing I learned about him in those meetings is that he had great questions, and that validated that he was receiving and getting something out of that time. And as I've told him, it doesn't really guarantee you anything, but once you're fighting the fight on a daily basis of growing within the system, he will be able to rely on some of what we did together. Now, McCarthy, his character-wise, he would be fine. Like, even if O'Connell didn't do that last year, I feel like he would be fine. But the fact that he carved out that time, like, McCarthy knew that he had to be on his game, come prepared, come with good questions, and all that stuff. Now, he probably would have done things like that anyway in terms of his preparation from what we've seen of him. But just O'Connell making sure that the spotlight was going to be on him an hour a week, it's really important. Really good stuff. Also, O'Connell's being present. O'Connell timed the meetings for what he called the sweet spot of game week after coaches have presented the majority of the offensive game plan, including the third down package. Third down for what? Usually that fell on Thursday afternoons. By that time, McCarthy had observed Darnold's assimilation of the game plan during quarterback meetings. Those meetings would end, and while active players went to the locker room to prepare for practice, talk about practice, McCarthy would head to O'Connell's office and go through a mental process the rookie otherwise would have experienced on the field. That way, O'Connell said, when we watched We watched the tape of the practice that night, and later that he was eventually able to start coming out to watch our practice. He was seeing an extension of that meeting if we handled it the right way. McCarthy had access to traditional game film as well as a dedicated camera the Vikings attached to Darnold's helmet, which that was a story last year. Darnold wearing the GoPro on the helmet. Lots of quarterbacks are doing that now, but it really did give McCarthy a POV of what Darnold was seeing against certain coverages and certain situations, and I think that definitely accelerates the growth process. Where, it sucks that McCarthy wasn't able to drill those reps himself, but mentally getting able to do that and making sure he wasn't just sitting and recovering, it wasn't a wasted year. Like, he was absolutely doing that work. The Viking blah, 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 blah. Another project include research and writing profiles of opposing defensive coordinators, including what coaching tree they came from, to help connect their schemes with other teams, as well as scouting reports on defensive players. This is like 3 a.m. when I can't sleep, like ADHD stuff. Well, this coach comes from this coaching tree, and oh my god, so Pete Carroll's from the Bud Grant coaching tree. Wow, that's amazing, man. It was making sure that I knew all the ins and outs, busy work on the front end, McCarthy said, when I had the time for it. So this year, I don't want to spend too much time on things that aren't going to show up in the biggest way, and just make sure that I can be efficient with my prepping and my game plan study. Where it's like, what band was that? I think it was Van Halen, that they got flack because they had like all blue M&Ms or all green M&Ms on their rider for performing at an arena or venue. And initially it was seen as them being high maintenance, but it really isn't, because if a small detail like that gets checked, it means that all the other details, safety, lighting, rigging, all that stuff would be taken care of. This is basically, it's like that with JJ McCarthy getting ready for this. Like, I know where the defense coordinator went to college. I know what coaching tree is from, but all those minute details, make sure that all the larger details are taken care of, or something like that. I may have just made up that M&M story. I don't know. I guess we'll never know. McCarthy took some initiative on his own. Defense staff Harrison Phillips said McCarthy approached him shortly after McCarthy got hurt to interrogate him about identifying alignments on the defensive front. He was just asking those great questions, Phillips said. Also, Flores has talked about extensively how McCarthy just bugs the bejesus out of him for defensive fronts, defensive looks. Also, the way that he's the Ryan Kelly signing is fantastic, where you have a veteran center on Ryan Kelly. He's probably going to be calling out protections to start, but those two communicating about what they see out there, what to look for. I think eventually McCarthy, like most star quarterbacks, will be calling protections here very soon. Each week, McCown asked McCarthy to turn in his notes so he could review what he wasn't picking up. O'Connell assessed McCarthy's work this way. It's hard sometimes to know exactly how smart somebody is. What are they really going to be able to retain when they start loading a lot of information? And I think he's demonstrated that he's got a pretty high level intelligence, and there's a lot there. Also, talked about how the Vikings didn't sign a veteran quarterback this year to sort of hold McCarthy's hand. You don't really need that, because you literally have Josh McCown, who is a couple years removed from being a high-level veteran backup quarterback. And I think it's even more important that he is the quarterback's coach versus having someone who's a backup. I think that's an important distinction there. Lastly, despite their best efforts, the Vikings know that McCarthy missed some key developmental opportunities last season, including seemingly innocuous moments such as running the scout team. It's like going to the driving range, McCown said. It's where you get all the practice. It's where you get to practice all your clubs. There's kind of no consequence, so to speak, and you really learn different types of throws that you can make in different windows. Sometimes the defensive coaches are asking you to throw it to this player, so I better cut this ball loose early. I better anticipate, so that hones your anticipation skills, and that's the hardest thing that you don't necessarily get to replace, just not being on the field. And that's the only drawback of McCarthy last season, that he wasn't able to be on the field. He wasn't able to get those reps in. He wasn't able to get some playing time in garbage situations, or maybe take over from Darnold. Yeah, I think Darnold would have held on to the job all season. Like, if Darnold did, well, I guess the Jaguars game, maybe you could have gotten benched, but nah. But McCarthy was still able to basically get the full experience of a rookie season, really get into the playbook, really get into situations, and also the fact that a lot of rookies come in and they have to absorb everything as well as play. The fact that McCarthy was able to do that, sans playing, actually could be a benefit to him, where it wasn't like trying to drink from a fire hose, where everything, all this information all at once, but able to process it and then see it in action from a third person point of view from 10,000 feet, all that stuff. I think that, all the talk is like, well, he's a first-year starting quarterback. It's not his first year in the system. I think that's what's going to give him a distinct advantage heading into this year, and can't wait to see what goes down. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. ESPN, the worldwide leader of readers, viewers, and subscribers, talk about how J.J. McCarthy's rookie season was not lost because of what the Vikings did last year, even though he had Darnold. I still love this picture, man. It's good. Anyways, let us know your thoughts. Our thoughts, comment section. You guys, the best you know what to do. Skol, production value.